Imagine being the star player on the Syracuse basketball team. During a game one night, you go for a shot, land awkwardly, and tear your ACL. You're sidelined for the rest of the season and are forced to go home and rehab your leg. However, you choose not to rehab your leg and sit on your couch and watch TV for the remainder of the season, not getting any better and not progressing at all. During the beginning of the next year, you're expected to be ready to go and at your peak performance just like last year. However, obviously by sitting on this couch, you can't get better and you can't rehab and you fall into a deeper hole than ever before. This is the harsh reality faced by thousands of inmates each year as they are unfairly thrown into prison every time they're caught with drugs. The problem only gets worse as they're dealt with withdrawals and are put in a much worse environment to deal with this drug addiction. Today, I would like to discuss three main points. First being the overcrowding of prison systems in America and why it's relevant to us, the dangers of being behind bars with this drug addiction, and the benefits of sending these drug users to different facilities such as hospitals or rehab centers in order to get the care they truly deserve. With the growing dilemma of overpopulation in the United States, it's important that we review the extent of how bad these prisons really are. Currently, there's over 2.4 million people locked up in state and federal facilities around the country. On top of that number, there are 12 million people that cycle through these jails annually. These numbers lead to overcrowding and massive amounts of state and federal spending to house these inmates. It's estimated that each inmate costs taxpayers an average of $31,000. If the number of these people getting sent to prison each year as a result of drug charges is even dropped by 10%, this could have a huge effect on the overcrowding problem of our prison system. On a countrywide scale, it's clear that overpopulation in prisons is becoming a growing concern and is definitely something that should be addressed. However, these inmates that are being overcrowded into these jails are dealt with even bigger problems, and that's the problem of addiction. Nowadays, you see people in jail being locked up for heroin use or other dangerous narcotics, and these drugs are so severe that the withdrawals can cause death, shock, and prison is not the place you want to be when dealing with this. You want to be in a rehab facility where you can get treatment and help that you need. Another reason that prison is so bad for these addicts struggling with withdrawal is that they're opened up to hundreds of other inmates who may not be the best people to be around during your withdrawals. You want to be around positive people that'll steer you in the right direction, and you have murderers, rapists, and other types of convicts in there that you do not want to be around. To add to another point, often you see drugs getting cycled into these prisons and are distributed to inmates. They're smuggled in illegally, and so there's a secondary market in prison where you can buy pretty much any drug you want, and this only makes the addiction way harder because if you even try heroin or any other narcotic once, you could relapse, and that's an endless cycle that you could never get out of. The best place to deal with these problems, obviously, like before I said, is a safe environment, a clean bed with positive and helpful people surrounding you. And jail just does not fit any of this criteria, and it's a sad reality that thousands of people have to deal with every day. In order to combat this problem, there needs to be better alternatives set up for these inmates. They need to go to either hospitals, drug treatment facilities, rehab centers, where they can receive the proper care that they need. Sending these abusers to treatment facilities, it would give them a second chance to be a productive member in society. Coming out of a rehab center would look way better than coming out of a jail or prison, especially when applying for jobs. They see jail, they see prison, and they immediately would likely scratch your name off the list. In an estimation done by researchers from New York State, sending people convicted of nonviolent drug crimes to get treatment over jail time will save the state an average of $250 million. Clearly, this would be a win-win situation, as these institutions providing these entities would be able to save money, and the individuals dealing with drug abuse would be in a much better situation where they can have a better life. And this is shown to work in different places around the world. In Australia, where 70 to 80% of prisoners are locked up because of drugs, there's been massive outcry. There's been protests, and community centers have been set up to give these addicts another chance as well. And it also reduces the cost of their own state budget. So it helps